Punita, in terms of sectors, in terms of an idea which you've identified off late. Every bull market, Punita, we know that as a new leader, courses remain the same, horses often change.
I think right now, because we still have some amount of cash that needs to get deployed, it is hard for me to tell you where the sector allocation is going to be in the next month or two, but it's going to be different than what you will see on the reported numbers.
All right, a break on market makers. We're in conversation with Punita Kumar Sinha, Senior Managing Director, Blackstone. Welcome back. You're watching Market Makers, and we are in conversation with Punita Kumar Sinha, Senior Managing Director, Blackstone. Punita, every bull market has a different leader. Horses always change, but courses remain the same. Going forward, which is the new sector theme idea you identified?
Indian market has always had a number of different themes and stories playing out at the same time, and you can find opportunity in almost every theme. That's the way we have always approached India. So, there are domestic consumption themes, and there are many stocks within that theme, and that theme is, I think, remaining strong. For a while there was some big fears around the monsoon, but I think those fears have subsided to some extent, but there will be some impact. Then there have been the themes around the knowledge outsourcing, and again we've seen that theme with the IT services play out quite well in the early part of this year, and now the question is, how does it do for the remainder of the next 6 months? Pharmaceutical, we've seen outsourcing and CRAMS picking up there. For a while, the Indian companies were obviously doing more of the generic and drug discovery, and now there seems to be more emphasis on CRAMS. So there are opportunities in that area as well. And then, then you just have the simple, manufacturing and export-led companies, and that's still suffering. And then the big theme, of course, for India continues to be infrastructure. Within that, there are many different ways that you can capitalize on that we still think there's opportunity longer term for power. Although shorter term, there have been so many QIPs that have absorbed a lot of the capital that would be going into the sector, so there may be some shorter term consolidation, but there are a lot of opportunities across in that theme as well. So in India, it's very hard to say that there's one or two themes that you should play, but I think you've got to look, you have to be stock specific, and you have to look, and you can find opportunity across every theme.
Punita, what's your view on telecom? The general opinion here is that there is a risk to business cycle, and the risk to business cycle will stay for a slightly extended period now.
I think the pricing environment is obviously very competitive, and to that extent the stress may stay for some time, but then the margins of these companies are quite high, so compared to their global peers, that I think is one of the rationale why they feel they can still cut pricing and still see some cushion on their margins.
Punita, just to assess the foreign institutional activity for this year, $12 billion of fresh inflows, but 60% of the inflow has come via the QIP route. Some sort of madness seems to be happening in the QIP route now.
I think it's a little bit overdone in my view, but I can understand why a lot of companies are obviously doing QIPs right now. India is one of the markets where there's the demand is not an issue, and companies can continue to grow as the demand is fairly strong. What they lack in India is capital. So Indian companies and the Indian growth story is very dependent on getting capital, and to that extent, for India's growth, the fact that these companies are able to get capital is actually good for the long term. And in the short term, of course, it can have some, impact on liquidity, because a lot of the liquidity is getting absorbed by the QIPs, and so that liquidity isn't flowing necessarily into the whole broader market. So I think that could be one of the reasons why the market, may find that there are very stock-specific movements that are happening rather than the broader market. And then I think that some companies are just raising money opportunistically. So there is genuine demand, and there are certain companies that genuinely need the money, and I think others are doing it opportunistically.
Have you actively participated in any of the QIPs?
I think that for the most part, I mean, we've obviously participated in some, but for the most part, I find that unless a company is illiquid, that you can get the same kind of stock by just participating in the secondary market at any point. However, certain QIPs get priced at discounts, and that's what makes them more attractive. And then in certain companies where the stock availability is a constraint on the secondary market, then this is a good way to participate.
Punita, what is your view on power sector and power IPOs? If you look at the institutional book, Adani Power, NHPC, Indiabull Power, the who's who of the institutional world have participated.
The demand for power is very strong. India is going to remain in deficit for the next several years. And so I think the power companies definitely need to add more generation capacity, and for that they do need capital. But obviously that while they need the capital today, the actual earnings will start coming